Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Willow Creek Homestead. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day wherever you guys are tuning in from. I thought for today's video, we could sit down and start some pepper seeds together. I was scrolling through my Facebook memories the other day and I noticed that on my posts for last year, I had already started pepper seeds at like the beginning of February, and now we're almost approaching the end of February. So I'm thinking I'm a little bit behind on this. If you are new to peppers and new to gardening, hot peppers especially take a longer time to germinate. If I remember correctly last year, I think I just went ahead and started all of my hot peppers along with my sweet peppers because they were pretty good sized in those photos that I was looking back on. So hopefully I'm not too far behind on that. I know my growing season is adequate enough to where if I start them, they will be totally fine. But I need to put hot peppers on my starting list to be more probably at the beginning of February because like I said, hot peppers do take longer to germinate and they're just slow growers. So a lot of the times it is good to start those early, but that's totally fine. Even if I'm a little bit behind today, we are going to make it work. So we are going to start my hot peppers and my sweet peppers. So I will give you guys a rundown of everything that I go to start today. I'll try to insert pictures and just some additional information if I leave anything out. We are going to be starting with the hot peppers first. And my family and I, we're not super big fans of like incredibly hot peppers. I did grow habaneros last year and I made a really good mango habanero wing dip that I canned. We are just not super big fans of hot peppers. So hot peppers are not something that I'm going to be growing a lot of, but the varieties that I am growing are tried and true varieties for me that I really love. And there is one variety in here that I tried to get to grow last year that I did not have success at. So hopefully we can get this to germinate because it's absolutely beautiful and I really want to give it a try. I also brought all of this stuff up at my table so that we didn't have to sit down at my seed starting tote downstairs because if you watched my previous video where we started all the onions and stuff, that was really hard to film down there. So hopefully this is a little bit better and you guys can see me better. But for the hot peppers that I plan to be starting today, we are going to do a bunch of poblano peppers. These are one of my family and I's absolute favorites. And poblanos are not super hot by any means. They do have just a very minimum amount of heat, but I really love doing roasted poblanos. And I also cut them up and added them into like my green pepper mixes and things that I freeze throughout the year. And it just gave the dishes that I was making like a little bit of extra heat. They also have just really good flavor. I am gonna go ahead and do just a couple of serranos so that I can make a dried hot pepper flake mix. These cayenne orange from M.I. Gardener, I've never tried before, but I want to give them a go and see if we can get some to germinate. And then these are from True Leaf Market, and these are Mexican sunset peppers. Now, they don't have a picture on the packet, but I will leave one up here. These peppers are absolutely beautiful. They are a hot pepper, but I tried to get these to germinate last year and I had no success at it. The germination rate on this is pretty low. So I'm gonna start probably 3 to 4 seeds of this and see if we can't get something out of it because I really wanna try this. Now these are early jalapeno peppers, which I'm not sure exactly how long your traditional jalapeno peppers take to germinate. These ones are saying that harvest is 72 to 75 days. So I'm gonna start a couple of these and then I'm also gonna start some jalapenos from M.I. Gardener. And then we are also going to be starting some Big Jim peppers. Now, the back of this package, I'll zoom you in so you can see, it says that Big Jim peppers are significantly hot. However, I did grow these last year and I did not find that to be the case. My Big Jim peppers that I got last year were mildly hot with more sweetness. So I'm not sure if it was just a fluke. Sometimes you grow hot peppers and they're not hot at all. Other times you grow hot peppers and they're really hot. So I am gonna grow a couple more of these this year and we'll see how consistent that is. So I did go ahead and fill up one of these Burpee 36-celled seed starting trays. I love these seed starting trays because the bottoms of these are plastic and you can just push your starts completely up from the bottom without having to finagle with the plastic on like a lot of the other seed starting trays. So I did go ahead and get one of these completely filled with the Miracle Grow potting soil and cow manure. I will leave my other gardening video for this season up above if you want to go back and watch that. I kind of go over everything that I do to get my seeds going for gardening season and what I prefer to use. Now, unfortunately, I am going from a small container garden to a huge in-ground garden, and my realization for this year is that I just don't have enough shelves and grow lights to start everything that I would like to. And if you are new to gardening, that does not make you any less of a gardener if you have to go out and buy starts. But my plan for this year is basically to start all of my peppers, tomatoes, as much flowers as I can, and like my cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, those types of things. Some things we will be able to plant in ground directly as it starts to warm up. But for the rest of the things that I would like to grow this year, if I don't have room for it, I'm just going to have to buy starts until I can invest in another, 4 to 5 tiered shelf with a bunch of additional grow lights. So that is kind of my plan this year. I'm doing as much as I can myself, but then I'm also giving myself leeway and grace to know that I'm going to go have to purchase starts, and that's totally okay. I just don't want to, A, overwhelm myself, and B, run out of space to house all of these things. So there is going to have to be a little bit of a method to the madness on how I start all of this and what I do moving forward. The nice thing about it, though, is if I do have extras, I have plenty of family members that will take these plants and things off my hands, or I can sell them, so on and so forth. So I am going to, like for the big gym peppers, for instance, I'm only going to start probably 2 plants, and this whole thing is going to be for my hot peppers and for my sweet peppers. So we're going to have to use a bunch of these little plant labels because usually I do like a full row of something. I just have to get a little bit methodical about how I start this stuff. So for most of your peppers, it's going to be about 1/4 of an inch. So I have some of these big gym peppers, and like I said, I want 2 plants. So I am going to go ahead and start about 3 seeds in one of these cells, and then I will just cut the additional one or give it away, or whichever happens, if it comes up, if it doesn't. But I'm going to go ahead and start about 3 of these in one cell, and hopefully we will get some germination on them. I always usually have really good germination success from MI Gardener seeds. And if I remember correctly, my big gym ones were a couple of the ones that came up really, really good for me last year. So I'm assuming we'll have the same success. But I'm basically just using this little Sharpie marker here and pushing the seed down in the soil. And then we will get it covered up with some dirt. And I'm going to go ahead and water all of this in at the very, very end. And we will need to put these on a heat mat. Peppers are one of those things that require a heat mat. Some things do, some things don't, but your peppers and your tomatoes specifically require a heat mat. Well, I guess I probably shouldn't say required. It's not required, but if you don't use a heat mat, you do run the chance of these taking forever to germinate. I'm not sure exactly what temperature peppers need, but it's substantially higher. I want to say it's probably like 75 to 80 degrees. I'll put it over here for the exact temperature that they really like to germinate. So you don't have to use a heat mat, but if you don't, just know and understand that it could take a really long time to germinate depending on your soil temperature and the temperature of your home. So as I get one done, I'm just going to start putting these little labels in, and I might not take up this entire thing of pepper seeds, but it should be close. If I have some extra room down below, I might plant some additional herbs or something in here just so I'm not wasting the space. Okay, so next we are going to move on to the jalapenos, and I would like at least 4 plants of these. There are a lot of canning recipes that I do during the summer that require jalapenos, and there are a lot of like side dishes and just things that we make fresh that jalapenos go really, really good in. So I am going to start 4 plants. Hopefully all of these take off. I think 4 should be okay. And this year is just kind of trial and error for me because I am going to such a big garden in comparison to what I have now. So I'm going to try and keep track of everything that I have started and how much I have started so that next year I know what maybe I don't need that much of or what I need more of. So I did go ahead and do an entire garden layout that I will go over at the end of this video. But basically, I am planning to do 2 whole 3x16 rows completely dedicated to sweet and hot peppers. So hopefully I get enough peppers to fill that entire space, because peppers are something that we go through a lot of. And I think I could definitely dedicate 2 whole rows to that, but we'll see how it goes. Like I said, this year's just trial and error. I'm just gonna find out what works for me and go with it. Then we are moving on to these Mexican sunset peppers. And with the jalapenos, again, it was 1/4 of an inch, and so are these ones right here. And like I said, last year, the germination with these was absolutely terrible. So I am, again, going to try and start probably 4 in one of these cells. And the extras I'll just give away or, you know, cut off or whatever the case. But I really, really, really want one of these to germinate so that I can try them. And if you have ever tried Mexican sunset peppers, please let me know down below, because they look absolutely beautiful. And I just think it would be something so fun to go out and harvest. I really like aesthetically pleasing things. Like even with my tomatoes, there's a couple of just tried and true varieties that I absolutely love. But some of the other ones are just aesthetically pleasing to go out and look at. You know what I mean? Like I want my garden to be filled with colors and just varieties so that it's fun, it's exciting. Especially for my daughter, like she gets so much enjoyment out of that stuff. So I really, really, really just want to try and incorporate as much of that as I can. Next, we are going to move on to the poblanos. And I had 2 poblano plants last year that I grew, and they almost got like it looked like blossom end rot. I know that that's probably not what it is, unless peppers can get that too. I'm not entirely sure, but the bottoms of the peppers were just incredibly mushy, and I could not for the life of me figure out what had happened or what was going on. But I probably only got like 3 or 4 poblanos last year, and they were very, very tiny. So I would like to redeem myself because my family and we love poblano peppers, and I just did not get a good harvest last year. So I'm going to start 2 in each cell, so we'll have 4 plants of this also. And then you know what? Also, if I have room at the bottom, as these grow, I can kind of just divide them and put them in their own cell. So maybe that will be okay if I have extra space. I was thinking about planting some herbs or something at the bottom, like I said, but maybe I don't actually need to do that at all. If these germinate and take off, then I can just move them around and they can have their own cell. So that might not be so bad. So I was gonna do Serrano and Cayenne, but I can't remember which one of these is hotter, if it's a Serrano or if it's a Cayenne. For some reason, I'm thinking they're about the same. Instead of opening these Serranos from last year's garden, I think I'm gonna go ahead and use this one because this one is an older package. So we will just not do Serranos this year because like I said, my family and I, we're not super, super big fans of incredibly, incredibly hot peppers. Now, I will grow a couple of these cayennes just to make some hot flakes, hot dehydrated pepper flakes to, you know, add to my cooking or to hand out. That's a really good gift idea. If you know somebody that likes heat, you can dehydrate peppers and make them some like homemade chili flakes. But otherwise, we just aren't super big fans of heat. So I am only going to start 2 of these cayenne peppers. And if they take off, they take off. And if not, they don't. I don't really have a lot of recipes or anything like that we use super, super hot peppers for. Except maybe salsa. My husband does like spicy, but there is a limitation on his spice level. I am not equipped to deal with spice at all. So if I grow any type of hot pepper or put it into anything, it's usually for my husband. Okay, so now we can move on to my favorite peppers, which are the sweet peppers. And there are a couple varieties in here that I have not tried, which I am super excited about. So I'm just gonna start these and run through them as we go. So the first one that I picked up from M.I. Gardener that is new to me this year is the Bequino red pepper. Now, these are itty bitty little peppers and they are sweet. It says that they take 75 to 85 days to mature, and they are also known as little beak peppers due to their distinctive shape. They are small and an heirloom variety from Brazil. So I thought that these were really, really cool looking, and I thought that, again, it was something my daughter might enjoy to go out and pick. So I am gonna start 2 of them. And if we get 1 to germinate, we'll just go with that. Like I said, I've never tried them before. I don't really have a sweet pepper that I don't like. So I'm assuming that these will be good. And I have seen other gardeners talk about them. So it will be very interesting to see what these look like whenever they mature. They just look like really, really fun. I'm hoping that harvesting and trying to prep them in any way isn't going to be kind of a pain because they're so small. But maybe they'll just be a good little like snacking pepper. Okay, so got that one in. And then the next pepper that we are doing is my favorite. These are peppercini peppers, and these are hands down my favorite pepper to grow. They are the best tasting, and I absolutely love pickling these. If you've never tried a Mississippi pot roast, I highly recommend. And the pepper that they say to use in a Mississippi pot roast is a peppercini pepper. Well, Mississippi pot roasts are one of my family and I's absolute favorite things. It is so incredibly good with like mashed potatoes on the side. You can make noodles to go with it and do like a Mississippi pot roast, kind of like a chicken noodle twist. It's absolutely fantastic. Quick pickled peppercini peppers are also really, really good. I made so many jars of those last year, and we ate them with just about everything. So for the bequinos, like I said, I did 2. And hopefully we at least get 1. I'm okay with just 1. I don't need 2 of those plants. But for the peppercini peppers, I am going to do, I think I would like at least 4 to 5 plants. So I am going to start 6 seeds. So I'm going to do 2 in each one of these cells. And hopefully we get all of them to germinate and come up, because I would absolutely love that. And we are going to have some peppercini pickling marathons together because, like I said, you just can't beat it. These are absolutely fantastic pickled. And as you're starting your seeds, if you notice any like big sticks or rocks or whatever in any of this whenever you go to start that, make sure that you're taking those out because they can inhibit your seed's ability to start and germinate. I have had that happen before where I found like a big clump of something on the top and I moved it and there was a seed under it trying to come up, but it wasn't able to. I did go ahead and sift through most of this soil before I am using it now. But just a tip for you, if you run into any big chunks, make sure that you pick those out. So the next thing we are going to be planting for sweet peppers is the sweet banana peppers. And you can use sweet banana peppers in recipes that call for pepperoncinis too. I've used sweet banana peppers in like Mississippi pot roast, for instance. So these are really, really good. And again, they're really, really good pickled, but you don't need a lot of them. One banana pepper plant will give you a lot, and I would rather have more pepperoncinis than I would the banana pepper plants. So I am going to do 2. And they also make a hot banana pepper plant. I have just never grown those. But if you like pickled peppers, but you like a little bit of a kick, a hot banana pepper plant would be something that would be really good for you if you like that kind of thing. I seriously cannot wait to get out in the garden and start planting all of these things together, friends. I was just thinking the other day about the seasonal depression period that most all of us go through. I have come to the realization that I don't think I was depressed for the past 2 to 3 months. I think it was just too cold. I am not a 4 seasons person. I need sunny and 75 all year round, and I live in Iowa. So it just is what it is. But it was about 60 degrees the other day, and I immediately was just like, I need to get up. I need to get things done. I have so many things to do, and I just immediately got excited for this time of year. So everything is starting to turn around. It's almost that time of year that all of us enjoy, and I cannot wait to be outside in the garden and doing all of these fun activities with you guys. It just feels so good to almost be there. You know what I mean? So the next several things that we are going to be starting, and instead of going through these one by one, I'm just going to show you because these are all different varieties of bell peppers. And I love MI Gardener's bell peppers. They have any and every color and kind and variety you could possibly think of. And these are all ones I have grown before and had really good success with. So these are the California Wonder Bells. And then I also am going to be growing some of these purple beauties. We are going to be growing some coral bell peppers, some yellow bells, and then some diamond bell peppers. We go through a lot of green peppers. I especially like to grow them and dice them up and put them in vacuum sealed bags to have for the entire winter months. It's just so nice to be able to prep a bunch of this at one time and then have them throughout the winter months for recipes and things like that. Along with eating them fresh, I use bell peppers on a lot of different things. So I am going to grow, I would say probably 3 to 4 of each of these varieties of bell peppers, just so that I have a lot. So I'm gonna start with the diamond bells, and I think for each of these varieties, I am going to try and grow at least 3 to 4 bell pepper plants. I don't know if I have mentioned this here on my channel yet, but my in-laws will be living right down the road from us, and I have already told them, come over and pick and take as much as you want. I've told all of my friends and family that as well. So I want to make sure that I am growing enough this year to share with everybody in the abundance. Sorry, I was looking for my Sharpie. I want to make sure that I am growing enough to share with everybody. And bell peppers are just something that I feel like everybody in my family and us, we just all really enjoy. So definitely want to grow a lot of them so that everybody can take and be able to enjoy them with us. And then next I'm going to do some of these Purple Beauty bell peppers. I grew these last year, but I didn't get to see them turn purple. These ones were a little bit later to flourish and do well for me. So I had to pick them green, and hopefully this year we can get some purple ones. If you didn't know, because I didn't know for the longest time either, your peppers are all usually green, and the only time that they develop a color to them is if you let them mature. So in order to get a purple pepper, you would need to let it mature to purple, and then that is the time that you could save the seeds. Typically, whenever peppers are green, they are not mature to save seeds from either. That's why a lot of the times if you go to the grocery store, you can't save like a seed from a green pepper. But once they turn the color that they are designated to turn, that is the time that you could save the seed from the pepper being mature enough to do so. I'm curious what your guys' favorite peppers are, or if there are any varieties that you really like and would recommend to somebody that is kind of still new on like their pepper variety journey, I guess I would say. Like, I have grown peppers the past several years with a lot of success. I just am not as well seasoned in the different types of varieties and things because there tend to be so many. I get a little bit overwhelmed with the options, I'm not going to lie. So if you guys know of any really good pepper options or things that you've tried that are really good, I would love to hear it. I especially love growing my own peppers because peppers at the grocery store are expensive. I went to buy a yellow and orange pepper from Walmart not that long ago to make a recipe with, and it was like $1.76 just for one pepper. I couldn't believe that. So peppers are a really, really, really good thing to grow if you have the space and room to do so, because it will save you a lot of money in the long run, especially if you can find ways to preserve them so you can enjoy them for longer than just the growing season. Okay, so I got all of those bell pepper varieties done. And then the next thing that's new for me this year is this miniature bell pepper from M.I. Gardener. Now, I made a video a while back going over my M.I. Gardener seed haul, and I had mentioned that I really, really like lunchbox peppers, and I couldn't find any like thing that had seeds that you could buy them from. And one of you actually told me that lunchbox peppers are just mini bell peppers. So I am super, super excited to try these because my husband and I's favorite things are the lunchbox peppers, and we like stuffing them with cream cheese and baking them. Or you can also do cream cheese with some everything bagel seasoning on them and pepperonis on the top. And they're just like the perfect size to either take with you or have as a snack. So I am going to start about 3 of these little mini bell pepper seeds. And hopefully we get some things out of them because that is super exciting. Like I said, I had looked all over the place for lunchbox pepper seeds, and one of you had said that that's just like kind of like a marketing thing, and they're just mini bell pepper plants. So the next pepper that we are moving on to is from True Leaf Market again, and this does not have a picture on it, so I will put it up here for you. But these are rainbow cayenne sweet peppers. And much like the Mexican sunset peppers, these looked absolutely beautiful. They kind of remind me of those, I believe they're called firecracker hot pepper plants from M.I. Gardner, just in terms of like colors, and they just look so cool. But usually whenever you find a variety like this, they are way too hot. But whenever I saw that they were actually sweet, I was like, I have got to try those. So yes, we are going to do some of these sweet cayenne peppers, and I'm going to start 2 of these. What I do like about the True Leaf Market packages is they do give you a germination rate percentage, so you can kind of see what the rate of success is. Like with these ones, for instance, it's 98%, but with those Mexican sunset peppers, it was not near that. So you can kind of determine how many you'd like to start. So I'm gonna do 2. And then the last sweet pepper that we are doing is from True Leaf Market. And these are just a red sweet pepper hybrid variety. And I got the seeds last year, and there's not a ton in this pack. So I am gonna go ahead and just start a couple extra because like I said, my family and we enjoy bell peppers, so it's not a big deal. These are called big red sweet peppers. And I did grow these last year, and they turned out great. So I'm going to grow just a couple of them this year just to get some of these seeds used up and add to my abundant bell pepper growing list. All right, friends. I got all of those labeled and started up. And like I said, once these start to pop up, I will just separate them and try and take advantage of the extra space down below so that I don't have to grow 2 separate things. So that will work out perfectly fine. And then the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna water all of this in really good. And then I'm gonna go ahead and get all of this set on a heat mat so that these can start warming up. And then the minute that these start to sprout, even if it's just in one cell and not in the others, they will come off of the heat mat and they will go under my grow lights. So I will be sure to keep you updated on how all of these do, what fails, what succeeds, germination rate, and all that good jazz. And then very quickly, I thought it would just be fun to go over my garden layout for the year. Now, this is subject to change because like I said, I am just going with the flow and trying not to overwhelm myself this year, because I know it's going to be a challenge going from such a small space to a huge space. So if I get overwhelmed or can't figure out how to get all of these things to work together, I'm probably just going to designate the extra rows to flowers because I'm also not used to having like, I mean, I always have a big preserving season, but if I were to take full advantage of my garden space, like right off the bat, I feel like I'm going to get very, very overwhelmed. So I am just going to do what I can. Like I said, this garden season is the season for giving myself grace and just having fun. That is the biggest takeaway / goal of all of this. But I have, and you'll have to excuse my messy handwriting and my drawing skills on this, but basically I have 18 3x16 rows. So this is my plan, and if you have any additional tips that you would like to add to this, or you think that something else might be better, please feel free to let me know, because I am just, like I said, going with whatever comes to mind. I am not really somebody who likes to plan things out. Typically, I just like to get out there and get my hands dirty and start working. But I do need to do this for my own sanity. So on the first row, and all of these first 6 rows are trellised. My husband and I put all of the trellising up before winter hit so that was at least done. There is a lot more trellising that we need to add. Plus I need to get my garden fence up. But for the first 6 rows, we are going to be doing 8, 16, 24. So I have 30 tomatoes that I am going to do. That includes cherry tomatoes. And once we start those seeds, I will go over all of that with you. But we are going to be doing all of those 4 rows. The first 4 will be tomatoes. The 5th row will be cherry tomatoes and tomatillos. And then the last row will be cucumbers and watermelons. I did cucumbers and watermelons trellis together here at the house last year, and that worked out really good for me. So that's what I'm going to be doing again. I also think that I'm going to be growing probably 4 to 5 tomatillo plants. I had 1 tomatillo plant last year that one of you guys actually helped me with, which if you're watching this, thank you so much. I had only planted 1, and I didn't know you need 2 tomatillo plants to fertilize and pollinate and do all of those things so that you get tomatillos, because last year my tomatillo plant did not succeed at all. So again, that is on the list of redemption for this year. So then the next 6 rows, I think I'm going to dedicate 2 of those rows to squashes and pumpkins on both of them, 2 rows to peppers, and then a zucchini row, and an entire row dedicated to just sunflowers. If you walk out of my house and you turn to the left, my garden is the first thing that you see right there, and I just want to be able to walk out my door and see beautiful, beautiful sunflowers. So we have a ton of really pretty sunflower varieties that we are going to be starting together. And then on the last 6 rows, we are going to be doing 1 whole row dedicated to potatoes. The next one will be for onions and leeks. I have an entire row dedicated to green beans. And I think on the back of my green beans, I'm going to do some type of climbing pea. We'll see how that goes. I have 2 rows on the back that I don't have anything dedicated to. And then the last row, I'm thinking cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower. But I might end up doing an additional row for cabbage and things like that. I have a lot of cabbage recipes and fermentation things that I really, really, really want to hammer in on next summer. So I plan to grow a lot of that. But that is the plan for now. And then in between all of these things, we are going to plant tons of marigolds, herbs, snapdragons, flowers, I mean, all kinds of things. I did really, really, really heavy amounts of companion planting because I did grow bag gardening. So companion planting is kind of my jam. I love just putting things in with everything else and maximizing my space. I think that it makes the areas look really, really pretty to look at. So in between all of these things, we are going to add tons of other stuff. Carrots and radishes is another thing. I put carrots and radishes in with every single thing that I grew last year, and I got so many of them that it wasn't even funny. So we will add all of those things in. I am not going to start any lettuce, kale, spinach, any of that kind of stuff. We are just going to sow all of that in directly. So we have our work cut out for us this year on all of the stuff that I need to get done, get started, take care of. Like I said, we have the fence to put up. We have a lot of stuff going on, but it is going to be so incredibly fun and I cannot wait. So if you haven't already, consider subscribing because we have so many fun gardening / food preservation days to come. And I can't wait to be able to do all of that stuff with you guys. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. These are some of my favorite videos to make where we just sit down, we talk about gardening, we talk about seed starting, we chit chat and get some stuff done. And I hope you guys have been able to learn a thing or two. And I hope I've been able to recommend a couple good pepper varieties to you all that have worked really good for me in the past several years. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week and I will see you in the next video.